Test 1 2 1 2. Hello out there in streaming land. We started streaming a bit early. Is it really on? Is it on, Ted? Mr. Ted Krasnicki. Paging Mr. Ted Krasnicki. You know who Ted Krasnicki is? It's my sweetheart. What's that? Oh, is what you call
I see. Okay, that's not bad.
Well, Mark, and Mark, do you know Carolyn? Carolyn and Mark. You both want to be
Yes, yes. That's,
Is that right? She's always so generous about
well, it's a little
mentioning her coding. That's really appreciated. Yeah.
This is a basic read. This is a cozy.
And another one on this side. Yeah, so. Beautiful. And everybody. Is that what, like, they call it a wounded heart?
I think so.
And it's related to the European roots now. Does it have the same scale? I'm very sure. Yeah, I can forget Roger. But you see, are you reading tonight? It says in my friend Arsenio photography. We pay those actors a lot of money, right, Arsenio?
Pardon?
We pay those actors a lot of money.
Yes.
We have to buy all those videos. That's good enough. I think that's perfect. That's good. That's good. It's good. It's fine. Yeah.
Is there something, is there, oh, okay, or that, yeah.
So maybe.
Because I know people who, ask their publishers, and they do that, and they drop it.
still be short. So Sandy will
I think it's getting fine. So now we're on stage.
On a yeah.
slide that over. Slide this one back.
Nathan. Everyone else is still yeah, yeah, okay. And then inside your other music. Yeah.
Excellent. Yep. Yeah.
I
Great.
think that
Autumn.
I would be hard pressed. I would be hard pressed to document this. Mayor Weidenberg. Yeah. Yes, and, I'm surprised I haven't seen anybody. So, I didn't have to pay. Are we on stage?
It's like theater in the round.
Will be the bass section.
Did you get to see this before you went? Hello. Oh, I've got a lot of sound. Sorry about that. Oh, I just ran up and down the stairs. Breathless. That was a film, right? Breathless. Hello, hello. Bonsoir. Bienvenue. Welcome. I hear it. Can you hear it? It's an echo. There's probably a delay because you know how these things work. Oh joy, oh bliss. You don't have to get very close. You don't have to kiss the mic like some mics. Hi. You might wonder why I gathered you all here tonight. It was until we put 40 bodies in here. No, I don't think we're quite 40. And also don't run up and down the stairs because you work up a sweat. Okay. Yes, we're so grateful that you're here for this publication party. And my script is somewhere. I need it. Gotten to the stage where I must have a script, or else I get lost. But we're so delighted that you're here. Notice you're going to be pretty far away. So tonight we will hear from Matthew Anderson and Vincenzo Di Nicola. Shams Al-Habib will be playing some music for us. Mark Voss is here, Ethel Mayer, and Carolyn Vandermeer. And then, of course, our own Brian Campbell will play songs for us, too. And if there's time, there's open mic, and you can have 3 minutes, beginning to finish. Okay? And I think, yeah, we'll let, since Arsene doesn't want to speak, you can tell. You can tell us, okay, Vincenzo? Okay. Okay, so here we go. Inspired by my Haudenosaunee friends and the words before all words, I would like to acknowledge that it is good and right to give thanks to and for one another and for all the beings with whom we share this earth, this galaxy. I offer thanks to the Creator who gave us this beautiful and bountiful earth as our home. So bienvenue and welcome. And now may we be of one mind as we listen to Lee Claus's words, which I have adapted from the Rationale for Redeveloping the Territorial Acknowledgement. He tells us, this land is sacred. It has been anointed for tens of thousands of years with the dust and bones of all those who lived here before us. As we came here, we were invited to share this land with the original people, with a common love and concern for the land that we would live upon and share in good ways. We acknowledge that treaty agreements were not to be considered as land surrenders, but to be considered as agreements of sharing together. We are all treaty people, and may we live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with its peoples. And so, to ensure that these words have meaning, and out of a deep respect for Indigenous friends and neighbors, I want you to know that on my behalf, I make a monthly donation to the Native Women's Shelter of Montreal, because I believe in the wonderful things they do, and one of its initiatives, Resilience Montreal. And if you would like to join me, you can make a donation, and I'll pass it along. Thank you. So we're going to jump a little bit out of the schedule because poor Caroline isn't feeling very well. So I'll just take this one, and you can get rid of your plate. Okay. She was at the end being, Vandermeer. Anyway, Caroline Vandermeer is a Montreal journalist, public relations professional, and university lecturer. Her articles, essays, short stories, and poems have been published internationally in journals and anthologies. Her 4 previously published books are Motherlode, a mosaic of Dutch wartime experience, Journeywoman, Heart of Goodness, the life of Marguerite Bourgeois in 30 poems, Du coeur de l'âme, La vie de Marguerite Bourgeois en 30 poems. Sorry about that. And the last one before this was Sensorial. So we welcome you, Caroline.
Thank you. I don't have to be very close, right? It's good? Okay. Thanks very much. Nice to see you all. And thanks for letting me go first, because truly I'm not feeling my best and waiting till the end. I don't think I could have done it. I'm not going to read very many pieces, just a few. So this book came out at the beginning of this year, All This Is I Stand By. Some of you were at my launch in April, and it's nice to see those of you who are here again. And actually, Norman was at that launch and made a request, and I'm going to honor one of them tonight. Yeah. So I'm just going to read a few, and there's a little story to go with one of them as well. So this one is called Bay of Fundy Coastal Drive, Southern New Brunswick, and it was inspired by this little trip. I washed the sun off my body, and in the morning felt like dew and chosen saints had kissed me. There was nothing in the Long Beach crags that made me feel right. It's not about whether the dog is lost, but about whether it wants to go home. The dew point here is 21.9 degrees, but what does that have to do with inner growth? Will I burst from my chrysalid like a brand new monarch, or be the dog that doesn't want to go home? Being kissed by the saints doesn't absolve you or make you charmed. It just increases the barometric pressure. The reversing falls are rapids, but no one ever asks about the depth of the waters. Okay. This is kind of special to me. It's a story of a racehorse, really. And some of you may know of this story. There was an Irish racehorse named Shergar who was kidnapped by, supposedly, the IRA in 1983. And that's a story that's always fascinated me. And I was in Ireland last year, and I went to the stable from which he was kidnapped. And this is about that. Horse napping, Ballymaney Stud, 1983. The manager leads us to the barn, private place that took all powers of persuasion to convince him to welcome us. Freestanding stable with 4 large box stalls tells us number 6 is the one. Slides the Dutch door open. It is filled with newspaper shavings, not the yellow tufts of hay common 40 years ago. I cross the threshold, stand in the center, beneath a bald light in a dome shade, sun struggling through a lone window. They leave me there, quiet, know somehow not to speak, as across the decades I try to hear what kidnapping a horse sounds like. I walk over to the automatic waterer in the right corner, touch the porcelain, imagine that equine tongue depressing the stainless steel paddle, cool water on velvet muzzle. He stood here, unsuspecting, men with misaligned goals robbing him of a stallion's life. Can't help wondering as I stand knee-deep in these newspaper cuttings whether there will ever be a headline announcing the discovery of the gunned-down steed's remains in an Irish bog well north of County Kildare. This one, called Maxfield, was inspired by the same trip to Ireland, and I wrote a second part to it, which recently got a Judge's Choice Award in the Dr. William Henry Drummond Poetry Contest, so I'm going to read both parts. So here is the first part. Maxfield. Our feet sink slightly in the rolls of lush grass, mounds of earth beneath in that rolling Irish way. I see thistles flourishing, know the cattle avoid them, worry about cow pies, but Frances says they've only been in Maxfield for a week. There won't be much. The pace of her speech is deliberate and quiet, as though careful thought precedes each utterance. When I look up and see moody cloud cover, I think the only place I could be is Ireland, its politics almost written across the sky. She tells me the history of the field, what it has meant to her father, how verse seems to rise out of the earth at her bidding. We link arms, walk across to the gate, straddling it like kids, swing our legs over. I realize that the power of place isn't because it's yours. Sometimes someone else's home place swallows you up.
You don't have to be close, but your mouth should be toward the microphone.
Okay, all right,
Thank you.
got it. So here's part 2 of this, Maxfield 2. 1. Sometimes someone else's home place swallows you up. It was what happened at Mora's, 96-year-old woman, telling me family stories in a room that had served as hearth, center of home. Her daughter's scones with berry jam and thickest cream, Irish breakfast tea in the late afternoon. She spoke quietly, fascinated by my interest in the kidnapped racehorse, in the IRA, by my black taxi tour of Belfast. Oh yes, she said, Irish lilt. It was a big deal, that horse. Remembers hearing it on RTE, February 1983, remembers the tensions, how high they ran, then remembers her Aunt Marion. 2. She was a maternity nurse, asked to take a dead baby recently birthed away. She knew he wasn't dead, could feel the breath in him. Raised him, watched him grow into a young man who chose the church. Church of Ireland. The time and place for this all wrong in a Catholic family. She moved to County Down, wondering if she could become part of the knots in the wood, IRA connections overriding her son's inequities. Protection arranged. When some years later her fears, loneliness became too large, she packed her life, returned to Rathmullion, IRA men guiding. Later she discovered a box of silver missing, smiled, small price. 3. Linking arms, Mora's daughter and I walk through Maxfield, navigating tall grasses and thistles. Consider how Marion navigated, chose her son, loved her son, despite his choices. We are like schoolgirls in checkered skirts, now checkered by life. In our 50s, 60s, recognize that Marion had other challenges. We climb the fence as the sun sets, return to Mora, who sits quietly by the fireplace stirring tea, a low voice recalling her dead aunt, and what it meant to be different during the Troubles. So just 2 more. This is for Norm. It's called, What's the Use of Looking Back? Her question that September day, as we sat by the remaining stone of Jeanne Mance's first hospital in 17th century Ville-Marie. I bundle my crinolines to stay warm. It is unseasonably cold to sit on a granite marker drinking chai. She shuts down my story of bygone days, sheds her petticoats for leatherette tights. It's the future that matters, you fool, she intimates from behind Liz Taylor shades, swaying in the wind with the husks of cattails behind her. And the last one I will read is the last one in the book, called the dog was dying. A tumor the size of a goose egg near his anus, listless and skinny, he still wagged his tail when any of us went near. It made me think about what a caress meant to the dying, when I held my dad's hand during those last unconscious days. We are family here, gathering to celebrate birthdays, the dog's life. I think about how we all rally round, gloss over everyone's troubles, a squeeze of the shoulder, an arm around the back, recognition it's just getting harder. One parent progressing with dementia, social mores no longer understood. Two parents breaking hips, their memories shimmering like gossamer, lost on the wind. One parent, gone, just gone. And us, no longer young, watching them decline, while children and grandchildren blossom, and the dog, lying on warm feet under the table, attends his last party. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you. We lost Brian because he had to answer the doorbell. So I will just move along. So we have Vincenzo Di Nicola. But first I want to explain, we also have Soirée Donoyon. Oh, Donoyon. Yes. Her photographs, they're part of, they figure very beautifully in Vincenzo's book, many of them. And so we have this lovely collage here tonight, so that when Vincenzo reads, he can go, ta-da. So I want to read your biography, and then we'll let you be part of the audience, okay? So, Soirée Donoyon is of Armenian origin and works in Montreal as a translator, travel writer, and photographer. Her photography has won awards, exposed in cultural centers, and has been part of poetry illustrations, academic visual presentations, and professional publications. Soirée has collaborated in illustrating the photos of Montreal Myland with the collection of poetry by Dr. Vincenzo Di Nicola, Two Kinds of People. She's also self-published Journey Through the Ascent and Sacred Sites of Greece. Oh, yeah. And the French version. Oh, thank you. Because tonight, my brain isn't working so hot. Anyway, but it's beautiful in French. I wish I could. Anyway, it's a travel narrative accompanied with her really outstanding photographs of Greece. So thank you for bringing your photos for us tonight. And now I will introduce Vincenzo Di Nicola, who is an interdisciplinary scholar. This is why we need Brian, because my mouth isn't working. Interdisciplinary scholar who was born in Abruzzo, Italy, and lives in Montreal, where he practices as a psychiatric physician, a philosopher and poet, and teaches at the University of Montreal. In the sphere of the arts, Vincenzo has been invited to numerous arts and cultural festivals and artistic residencies in Canada, Portugal, and most recently the Alfred Summer Arts Festival, which is at Alfred University, which happens to be in Alfred, New York, anyway. And his literary work appeared in such journals as Queen's Quarterly and Poesis, and in the unsecured present 3-day novels and poems for pilgrims, as well as Two Kinds of People, poems from Myland. We welcome you.
This is just my height. I love it. That's good. Thank you so much for inviting me, and especially thank you to Soirée for these lovely photographs. This central photo is from the cover of the book, and on the back there is a map from Mile End, very old, from the late 19th century. So I'd like to read a quote from Bernardo Suarez, who was one of the semi-heteronyms of Fernando Pessoa, from the book of Disquiet. Each of us is two, and when two people meet, become close and are linked. It is extremely rare that the four of them can be in agreement. So this one is about the bagels. Mile End's bagel cosmology. The known universe is 13.8 billion years old. Our Milky Way is awash with some 100 billion stars. There are 86 billion neurons that light up the human brain. Plenty of room there for the 9 billion names of God. The doors of perception open to a rich, manifold life, and there are 13 ways of looking at a blackbird. Yet, there are only two kinds of people in the world: Fairmont bagel people and Saint Viateur bagel people. In Mile End, where we take such things very seriously, our cosmology is based on bagels. Two kinds of people. And I think that's the illustration in the book beside it. It tends to work. It stands to reason. On one hand, there's this. On the other hand, there's that. There's two sides of the coin, give and take, balanced and fair. There are, after all, hot diseases and cold diseases rising up in your head or falling down to your feet. You can only be, when all is said and done, pregnant or not. It's either a boy or a girl, isn't it? When all is done and said, you're on the right side of history, or you messed it all up. Either you're a type A or a type B, Oscar or Felix, or was it the other way around? We all have our roles to play. Either you're George or Martha, Vladimir or Estragon. Even the Bible told you that it was Cain and Abel, and we all know how that came out. Rachel or Leah, Esau or Jacob. Old Testament or New, people of the book or followers of the cross. Wasn't it Jesus who said, be hot or cold, or he would spit you out? The good guys and the others. Doesn't it come down to that? White hats and black hats. Isn't that it, really? Like the French guy said about America, pick either Marx or Jesus. Or did he say neither one or the other? Too confusing, those French guys. Heaven or hell, it's self-evident. You're in the divine presence or you are not. Even if the English guy made a good case for the other one, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. After all, you have to make a choice. Take it or leave it. At the end of the day, it's still the end of the day, dusk notwithstanding and doubts aside, it's either physical or it's all in your head, isn't it? There's no stark raving sane or lucid lunatics. Common sense can tell you that much. And we all know that there are only two kinds of people in the world. Those who believe that there are two kinds of people and those who don't. Second cup, second thoughts. There was from 100 years ago now, there was a song called Secondhand Rose that Fanny Brice sang famously, and Barbara Streisand also made famous. Even Jake Cohen, he's the man I adore, had the nerve to tell me he's been married before. Everyone knows that I'm Secondhand Rose from 2nd Avenue. What's sure is what's second. You can never be altogether sure of what's last. And try as you might, you can never dig down deep enough to get at what came first. So second thoughts are always easier, more certain. After all, you're just announcing, well, on second thought, if we think it through, you're just reacting. Even when it's not altogether clear, just asking really, what was that first thought? And isn't it a little like first love? It leaves a trace. It marks you somehow. And after that, everything is sort of second. You can't quite, wedding vows and vows to eternity aside, assure that it will be the last. Best be second. You got that first thing over with, no matter how much of a shadow it casts, and you are not so rash as to declare this one, this second time around, final, absolute, eternal. It's not, after all, for once and for all, set in stone. If someone's in a rush, elbows you out, crowds you in, make way, let them at it. Let them give it a crack, won't you? So Settle for second. Let someone else say it first and make a fool of himself. Let your neighbor be the first adopter. Let the other guy have that first kiss. And you can say your second thoughts. Buy it secondhand. Be second but sure best. Have that second long-lasting kiss. Stand second in line for that second bottomless cup of coffee for the unending road. So I'm going to close with this. My favorite poem, of course, is from my daughter. We don't have a picture here because it was another photographer, but it was just after she was born. She's 5 now. It's my second family. But I'll read this because I think it's more appropriate. Minor poetic emergencies. And it was around this poem, written quite a few years ago, that John and I met. What we need in this town are poetry clinics run by poet-physicians like William Carlos Williams. Walk-in clinics for minor poetic emergencies, not major surgery. Metaphor touch-ups, simile sales after a run-in with a careless writer or a shakedown from the language police. Nothing really serious like running out of things to say or the courage to call yourself a poet. But you never know when you need a line of Rumi or a sonnet by Rilke to brace your solitude, or the erotic poetry of Apollinaire to get you through the night. A lifeline from Derek Walcott will do you wonders as you drown in the mixed metaphors of St. Lawrence Street. Or a handreel from Wisława Szymborska, an open palm from Yehuda Amichai, extended from an open window by Mario Quintana. These could ease your passage through the icy days of Montreal's linguistic winter. You see, even in the world of the internet and big box stores open till every night, very late, there are still poetic emergencies. And the heart, dear William, depends not on a red wheelbarrow filling with rain, but on the right words, properly sculpted, sparingly dosed out like a controlled substance for an uncontrolled pain. Thank you very much. And thank you, Arsene.
So, Shams? Yeah, all right. So, Shams? Yes, okay. With the mic. Mike is a nice guy, so. You have to keep a distance from this mic, though. All right, so anyway. Yes, Shams Al-Habib, PhD, is an accomplished Sufi singer-musician and comes from an artistic Egyptian family. Her beloved father was the Egyptian composer Ibrahim Ragab. Shams, I pronounced that right? Yeah. Okay, Shams has performed spiritual music in Egypt, Canada, and worldwide. With her music, Shams aims to bring the heart, body, mind, and spirit into perfect balance. Inspired, let's see, I think, that's not the same, is it? No. Yeah, okay, good. All right, so let's see.
No, I prefer with, yeah. Like this is okay. Well, hello everyone. I'm so honored to be with you tonight. I'm gonna sing one poem of Santa Teresa de Jesus. And why I'm choosing Santa Teresa de Jesus, because I'm gonna sing another Arabic poem for one of the Sufi ladies. Her name is Rabia Al-Adawiya. And when I saw her movie, it's an Egyptian movie, when I was 14 years old back in Egypt, it changed my life. I fell in love with the divine. It's like devouring love. I didn't have the choice. It was meant to be. So I will sing a little bit in Spanish and in Arabic. And I'm going to repeat some of the words many times. If you feel like it, please sing with me. Thank you. This beautiful instrument comes from Egypt. It's called a laoud, lut arabe. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله صلى الله عليه. Vivo sem beber en mí tan alta vida espero que muero porque no muero, que muero porque no muero. Vivo sin beber en mí tan alta vida espero que muero porque no muero, que muero porque no muero. Aquella vida de arriba es la vida verdadera. Hasta que esta vida muera, no me gozas tanto viva muerte. No me seas esquiva, vivo muriendo primero. Que muero porque no muero, que muero porque no muero. Allah, 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 عرفت الهوى مذ عرفت هواك، عرفت الهوى مذ عرفت هواك، وقمت أناديك يا من يرى خفايا القلوب ولسنا نراك. الله 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 الله. Sing with me please. الله 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 I can't hear you. Allah, Allah, perfect. Ayya, Allah, Allah, Allah. Allah, Allah, it's okay for the time. Yeah? Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله صلى الله عليه. ليلى 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 سلبت ليلى مني العقل سلبت ليلى ليلى مني العقل قلت يا ليلى ليلى ارحم القتلى ليلى 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 Sing Layla with me, please. Layla, 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 oh, Layla, 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 Layla. Oh, yeah, Layla, 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 oh. أيها العاشق إن تكن صادق أيها العاشق لليلى إن تكن صادق للسوى فارق تغتنم وصلا ليلى 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 oh ليلى ليلى oh ليلى 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 oh ليلى ليلى oh ليلى 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 يا ليلى ليلى oh ليلى 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 ليلى
Thanks, that was lovely. It was entrancing. Okay, Mark Foss is the author of 3 novels, including Borrowed Memories, 8th House Publishing, 2024. His short fiction and essays have appeared in many Canadian and American journals and anthologies. His most recent essays are forthcoming in the Capilano Review, Untethered and Hinterland. In addition to his own writing, he is the co-editor of the book of Judith, a homage to the writer, poet, and teaching artist Judith Tannenbaum and her impact on marginalized and incarcerated students in the United States. He lives in Montreal, so let's welcome.
Thank you, Brian. Board members just came out a couple of weeks ago, and it's the story of a freelance translator in Ottawa who is taking care of his ailing parents at the family cottage in the Thousand Islands. His mother has Alzheimer's, and his father has just lost his driver's license. And so Ivan is going to try and give his parents a little bit of his time. At the same time, he's doing some work for a Tunisian Quebecois filmmaker and is finding himself quite drawn to her and struggling with meeting his parents' needs and finding his own path. So I'm going to read a section in which Horace, the father, has lost his driver's license, as I said, and he's had a driver's test at a hospital, and he's failed, but the examiners taken pity on him and said, if you take 6 lessons with the driving school and you pass, come back and take the test, and we'll see. Horace doesn't like the sound of the 2 driving schools on the list the woman gave him. They have receptionists that he can't understand. He gets a better feeling from the guy he finds in the yellow pages who answers his own phone. David runs a school near the A&W in Brockville, so we arranged to meet him there in the parking lot the next day. Horace prepares by gathering up copies of his letters to the editor, photos of him and his best friend Bob in their cadet uniforms, and the story of his infamous spin from 10,000 feet just before the end of World War II. I want to show him the kind of man I am, he says. David, who seems to be in his mid-40s, is the kind of driving instructor who sports a red t-shirt with the slogan, "In my defense, I was left unsupervised," at his first meeting with potential clients. I'm almost more irritated by the American spelling than the party-hard message, more suited to a 20-year-old. David nods approvingly and maintains eye contact as Horace hands him the package. I'll be sure to have a look at this, he says. His words are enough to win over Horace, who seems ready to write him a check on the spot, right on the hood of the station wagon. So you need 6 lessons, David says. We could do 3 a week. Then I'll be out of your hair in 2 weeks, and you'll be ready for your test. How does that sound? Horace breaks into a wide grin and looks my way for affirmation. But as much as I would like the lessons to be over with quickly, it feels too easy. You'll need to provide a report to the hospital, I tell the guy. David waves me off with a hand that says pshaw, but it's probably more like piss off. You ready, Horace, he says. We can start right now. No, in my car over here. He's got a special car, I tell Horace. It's got a brake on the passenger side. Your son's a smart cookie, Horace. He walks Horace to the driver's side of his Chevy Malibu, rolls back the seat to a maximum, and then plants him inside. So what's the first thing you need to do? David says. Seatbelts, good man. David turns to me, his face still a mask of forced joviality, but his left hand carries Horace's precious envelope like it was a loaf of stale bread. I've taken to bringing Ida with us to the driving lesson, the 2 of us waiting in a booth with a frosted mug of A&W root beer while David puts Horace through the paces. The placemat features shameless black and white photos from the 1950s to conjure warm memories of the drive-in experience, the kind we had at the franchise on the highway at the east end of Brockville before they tore it down. The era of car hops on roller skates was already over. Our server, clad in an orange uniform, would walk in sneakers down the cement aisle that divided the facing cars. Like everyone else, we were in our car with the tray of food resting on the half-open window on the driver's side. We were the picture-perfect family, with Horace ordering a Papa Burger, Ida the Mama Burger, and me the Teen Burger, although my voice hadn't begun to change yet. After we finished, Horace would put on our lights again for service, and the car hop would skip down the aisle for our tray, and the few coins Horace had left for a tip. He'd back out of the angled spot quickly, as if nothing could get in his way. Do you remember all the times we went to the A&W on the highway? I asked Ida. After we would go to Dairy Queen for dessert, it was right across the road. Of course I do, all those times. But I know it's not true. So for my sake as well as hers, I don't press. I'm so desperate to connect with Ida that I will hold on to her imagined memories and embellish them as my own. Horace and David are back from the lesson a little early. They're sitting in the car, and I half expect to see the lights come on as if they want me to trot out at their bidding. But Ida and I are finished anyway, so I gather up our stuff, taking one last look at the nostalgic placemat, now dampened with root beer rings. I wave at Horace as I get Ida into the Roadmaster. Today, Horace is uncharacteristically quiet as he leans against the Chevy. It's David who speaks up, clamping his hand on Horace's shoulder. We've decided to call it a day with the lessons, David says. That's right, Horace. We're all done here. That's great, Horace, I say. Ida's already in the car. I just want to talk to David for a minute. Remember what I told you, Horace, David says as Horace walks away. Stay off the highway. I wait for Horace to reach the car before facing David. So what's going on, I ask. Why are you stopping at 5 lessons? No worries, I'll tell them you have the 6. They won't know the difference. I don't understand why, because we had a close call today, all right? On the on-ramp to the 401, he got caught alongside 2 transports, and he couldn't merge. I had to brake for him, and we ended up on the shoulder. Why were you taking him on the 401 at all? To scare the bejesus out of him so that if he does get his license back, he won't go on the highway. Lesson 5, I say. Give the client a near-death experience. David smirks, but I don't let it go. I'm sure he was spelling license with an S in his head. So why stop at 5 lessons? You couldn't pay me enough to get into a car with him again. But you're going to write a report that says he's good to go. He deserves another shot, don't you think? As long as he stays off the 401, he should be good for another few years. But you won't drive with him. What the fuck do you want from me? He doesn't wait for an answer, turning instead to the driver's seat of his car where he adjusts the seat forward in one vigorous motion. I could get in the passenger seat beside David, hold the brake pedal down. Better to let him go. Count our blessings. Maybe he was right to teach Horace through fear. It's a language he understands. Horace once held me over the cliff to show me it was dangerous. Even today, when I get close to the edge, my breathing gets shallow, which seems to muddy my thoughts. I remember the sensation, my legs kicking out, searching for the firm earth that wasn't there. I can see it happening sometimes, although I'm on the outside looking in, as if it's happening to someone else. Thank you.
Read. Thanks. Ethel Muir was born in 1950 in Truro, Nova Scotia, and in her teens moved to Montreal, where she now lives. She has worked in factories, in sales, and domestic and customer service, and late in life returned to high school and continued on as a mature student in creative writing at the Concordia University. She has 2 children, 7 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Her work in the Timeless Voices anthology by the International Library of Poets earned Muir their nomination as Poet of the Year in 2006. Muir's poetry has appeared in Cola, Blasted Tree, Jonah, Concordia Right Nights, and various other publications. Her previous Sky of Ink chapbook is Funny Girl. That's 2019. Okay, so let's welcome, give a hand to Ethel Muir.
Is that a little high for me? Can you hear me? Yeah? Pull it down? Is that better? Okay. I'm going to read from... Okay. All right? Higher? Better? Yeah? I'm going to read from my latest chapbook, Tinkle Little Tootie. I'm Tinkle. My mother was Tootie. She's Ethel. Was Ethel and I'm Ethel. Okay. I'll read to you first, Old Miss Hill. Old Miss Hill was as lazy as sin. She brewed strong coffee and dropped her cups on the floor. Am I okay? She'd made pots of tea and spilt them all over. She never swept, dusted, or cleaned her house. There were piles of dirty clothes everywhere. They became smelly and stinky. They bothered her, but she couldn't be bothered. She slept in her sheets for years on end. She never bathed or brushed her teeth. She hardly ever combed her hair. She just threw on a cap and shoved it all in. She ended up looking like an old scarecrow. And to her sorrow, the bugs, the roaches, ants, and the spiders had, and to her sorrow, the bugs ate her alive. The bugs, the roaches, ants, and spiders had a hell of a good time. They jumped off the coffee cups and splashed in the tea, rolled in the clothes, and played hide and seek. The bed bugs grew as big as your hand, then they sucked all the blood from the whole entire gang. They took over the house and fought like dogs. Then one night around 3 a.m., they ganged up on each other and they went berserk. They tore each other up. What a mess. All you could see were little bits of eyes, blood, and veins. Anyone not knowing would think they all tumbled into a food processor. Okay, let's see. Missing the plump love. I keep looking for the plump love, but he's nowhere to be found. All I'm left with is memories of the plumpest love in town. He was peach fuzzy, cottony soft, cuddly warm, and scrumptiously delumptious. If I could see him for just 1 hour, by damn, I'd try once again to get wrapped in his plumptuous warm embrace, 'cause it's been a freaking long cold winter, and the thought of being wrapped up in his ham bone really turns me on to hot pork and beans. Her old man. Her old man was a fraction of a second of a come, come, come. She had to play hard on her bongo drum to make that old son of a gun come, come, come. She tickled his ass with a blade of grass. He let out a roar like a wild boar. He turned around and looked for more. This hot-blooded, ardent, spicy old man. Let's all give him a hand. With raunchy poncy and sexy stew, what do you expect an old gal to do? Okay. All right. We'll go back to my education. I learned my education out behind my mother's barn. Grass bed, phys ed, sex ed, outdoor cookouts, physical workouts. Keep someone on the lookout just in case Mom comes out to check us all out. Whoop, I'm dropping all my papers. Okay, I learned my education out behind my mother's barn. If this info ever got leaked out to Grams, she would not have found this very funny. She was strict and firm with armfuls of love, but no way in heck would she accept your sass. You get your butt spanked, then land in the corner behind Bertha. If you didn't like that, she would make you go out and sit in the barn. You knew better than to utter a word of sass, otherwise you'd be carrying wood all day to feed Bertha. Some folk may find this a bit funny. While Mum worked, we had the best babysitter, our Grams. One thing for sure, there were armfuls of love. She would not tolerate a kid giving her any sass. So you knew best to never mouth off at our Grams. Don't contradict me, she'd say. Don't be funny. She felt blessed and lucky to have a good girl like Bertha. A small, powerful stove kept us nice and warm. We felt the love. Mama ordered cords of wood. Our job was to pile it all in the barn. In all of Nova Scotia, there was no other stove like our girl Bertha. Imagine having respect for a stove and feeling the love. Growing up poor is no sin, remarked Grams. Thank God for what you have. Be polite and give no sass. Never mind getting educated out behind the barn. Oh no, how did she know? No, this was not funny. From then on, no more out behind the barn. Don't want to mess up my standing with Grams. She meant the world. I couldn't lose her love. So I stayed away from the boys, gave no sass, kept the wood piled high next to Bertha, sang songs, did my homework even if it wasn't funny. There was no pulling the wool over the eyes of our Grams. She knew darn well what was going on out behind that barn. I just kept on believing in our girl Bertha, minded my manners, Never slipped up on the sass. Tried my best to be a good kid, to have fun at being funny. Growing up poor, living with Grams, feeding Bertha, playing in and around the barn, feeling the love, watching my mouth, minding my sass, wasn't funny until it was. Let me see if I have one more. Okay. This will be the last one, The Glass Menagerie. This is inspired by Tennessee Williams, the play The Glass Menagerie. Laura, Laura, how I relate to you. I myself ran away from school. I just didn't fit in. All my peers did would make my head spin. I wore secondhand clothes. They all made fun of me. I nicknamed myself Secondhand Rose. I tried to fit in by acting like a clown. Then I'd feel stupid and start to feel down. Deep inside, I really felt shy. I just couldn't walk with my head held high. Like you, I had no bedroom to call my own. I camped out in the living room night after night. I kept all my clothes tucked out of sight. As for gentlemen callers, they were very few. I was so young, I didn't have a clue. I liked a freckled-faced guy, but I was really shy. When my brother invited him in, I said bye-bye. When we were kids, we played outside. When he came out, I'd always run and hide. He told me I was ugly, and I felt so sad. This freckled-faced fella was really bad. Then one day, we were out at play. I held his hand, and I felt so gay. You know gay, in the old-fashioned way? When he discovered it was me holding his hand, he had no charm. He nearly broke my arm. He took my arm, and he flung it in the air. He made one thing clear. I got the message, my dear. As time moved on, and I came to Montreal, I met a real gentleman caller who called on me. He knocked on the door. He didn't have to shout. He simply said, "Are you allowed out?" Without a doubt, I was allowed out. After all, I was all of 17. Now I was in love. Now this man was a dream. Then one day I went down home for a little holiday. Guess who came my way? Old Freckleface came along, and he sang a different song. He said he was sorry for the way he treated me. Well, he did me a favor. As you can see, I'm no longer broken like the Glass Menagerie.
We'll end with music. You know how they say the first shall be last and last shall be first? You know that, right, Matthew? We had you down as at the beginning, but Carolyn came around from the backside. She came forward. So we'd like to hear you now, Matthew. If I can find your biography, it would be great. Oh, you gave me, that's not there. Okay. Yes, we're very casual here. Very, very casual, partly because, my brain shorts out. So, okay. I don't see Matthew on there. Okay, I'm losing my mind. Oh, no, it's true. Yeah. Matthew Anderson grew up on Treaty 4 territory. He was a member of the Quebec Writers' Federation for many years and has presented twice before at the Luncher Soirée. Since 2022, he lives in Nova Scotia, Memaki. And in addition to his short stories, Matthew has 4 books in print: The Good Walk, Creating New Paths on Traditional Prairie Trails; Prophets of Love, The Unlikely Kinship of Leonard Cohen and the Apostle Paul. Good job. Our Home and Treaty Land, revised and expanded edition with Dr. Ray Aldred, Friesen, 2004. And Pairings, The Bible and Booze, or in French, Apocalypse and gin and tonic, only with an A, you know. Sorry. Anyway, there's another thing about Matthew. He's very dear to my heart, as are many people in this room, but today I'm going to tell you, we weren't allowed to do my mother's funeral because my mother was like that. And then Ted's mother died, and I said, I can't bury my mother-in-law without a service for my mother, right? We grew up Lutheran, and this lovely Lutheran man who was a pastor, you don't pastor now, do you? Yeah, I think, you do pastor. You still pastor, yeah. Whether you have a parish or not, you pastor. And so he did a beautiful memorial service for my mom, and it's just, I will always be grateful. Yeah, so here you go.
I'm going to read from this most recent book, which is The Good Walk, which came out in April, and I just got some great news today that it's in second place for nonfiction across Canada, according to the independent bookstores. So really pleased with that. And
Buy one and they'll be first.
And maybe you can tip it over. And I'd like to say thank you also for the food, and especially, I don't know who made that lemon cake, but the lemon with the incredible, just incredible. Thank you so much. That was such a treat. All right, so just a couple of readings from this. I'm going to skip a little bit because it's basically it combines memoir, travelogue, and manifesto. At a convenience store in the Okanagan Valley near Vernon, British Columbia, a clerk asked my wife and me where we were from. Even though she'd lived in Montreal for 15 years, Sarah Parks immediately answered she was from New Brunswick. Actually, close by where one of those poems came from at the very beginning, the Fundy. Montreal, I said. Sarah challenged me. Is that so? Of course, I responded. Where else? It's been over 30 years, most of my adult life. My kids grew up in Montreal. But Montreal is not where you're from, Sarah insisted. Where are you from? The store clerk, somewhat nonplussed, the change still in her hand, looked on as the two of us discussed this. When you close your eyes and you think of a landscape, Sarah continued, is it Montreal you see? No, I admitted. When I close my eyes and I think that word home, I see the golden hills, the coulees and the draws, the short grass and the cottonwoods that I've been describing in this book. It would be a mistake to leave you with the impression that the story of prairie pilgrimages ends with the things that I've been talking about in this book. In the years since the walks that I described, Saskatchewan History and Folklore Society have helped many others discover the old ways across the prairie. Almost every year, there have been plans on historic tracks in danger of slipping from memory. The walks have evolved, bringing in more and more participants and more Indigenous participants. It's important work. Long-distance walking on the prairie will never have the pastoral feel of village-to-village meanderings in Alsace or the ease and the comfort found along leafy country lanes in England. Although to my surprise, there was a Welsh couple running a cafe in Mortlach who served wonderful fish and chips, none of our treks ended with a picnic served on red-checked tablecloth, as one might encounter in Europe. The trails we walked are as empty of people now, it must be pointed out, not before, but now, as empty of people as the remotest stretches of the Spanish Meseta. But none was empty of memory or meaning. They were not footpaths through the prairie so much as footpaths of the prairie. By walking them, we were made to be more part of the land. Body, mind, memory, land, and spirit are related, and the land claimed us as we walked. We experienced that synthesis again and again. Just going a little bit further on. At the outset of this book, I quoted Indigenous scholar Dwayne Donald, who states that, quote, walking as a life practice can teach kinship relationality and help reconceptualize Indigenous Canadian relations on more ethical terms. Canada needs new stories. And those stories can sometimes be found on old paths. That is certainly how it has worked for us. I can't speak for the others, but for me, the walking was personal, political, and spiritual, all at once. 4 walks and 2 funerals. It was an unexpected way to work through the grief of losing my parents. At the same time, it became cathartic, a way to understand better the place that raised them and me, the place I call home. The coincidence of the timing was a gift. The land turned out to be healing, but it often is. The walks were also a form of descent, the descent of following a sometimes meandering human path across an artificial and commercially drawn world of legal squares. Their precise lines marking township, section, and quarter. As Solnit has put it, quote, walking sews together the land that ownership tears apart, end quote. Claims to exclusive private property negate a sense of our ownership, our relationship to the land as belonging to it, rather than it to us. Ownership without such relational responsibility breaks ancient chains of reciprocity that make for good and healthy relationships with neighbors. Even though we respected private property, the historic paths don't care about no trespassing signs. These trails precede such claims and precede such divisions. They tell a story that too many of us have forgotten about a time when settlers had an understudies relation to the land and learned from Indigenous peoples about how to live properly on it. There was a time when not long ago, Indigenous individuals and groups were not automatically treated as interlopers by a racist society that has made the great outdoors white space. The parceling, in this case of the prairies, that began with the waves of surveyors of the late 1870s is only 150 years old. I'm glad that my brief stint on a survey crew had to do with making a road rather than property lines. Yet we were showing that there is a public interest in what lies almost uniquely and solely on what are now private spaces. That public interest must be safeguarded. Such safeguarding must happen not only for the sake of the historical memories, but also for how the trails witness to what should be safe spaces for all peoples, especially for those who first walked them and are now excluded. The trails are living examples of a common contemporary interest, whether one is Nehiyao, Métis, settler-descended, or a newcomer. The trails that we walked were as old as the bison herds, the burial grounds that go back millennia, and the bare hills that now seem to be so empty. But the trails were also as new as the guard dogs we met as we approached farms near Battleford, and the Lakota man who slapped my back and told me, "You walk the prairie all you want, white man. I'll take my Ford F-150 to Cypress Hills." The Battleford trek was about remembering how Métis, First Nations, and settlers all once used the same trail. It was about smudging with farm families who had never before participated in such a ceremony. It was about including Indigenous people's concerns and historical corrections about memories of the past in our conversations naturally, neither preaching nor apologizing, just quietly and consistently recognizing the facts. It was about not forgetting, but mentioning government-broken treaties, expulsions, and the injustice when discussing the histories and the present realities of rural and urban life. Maybe I'll stop there.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. So while Brian's getting set up, I'm going to just okay. I'm still going to talk then. but I do want to speak. We're just kind of like family. Jerome isn't here tonight. He just flew back from BC. But I want to thank you all for being here this evening. We will have our next launch hair soiree in October. I get so anxious about these things. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to take a little break and get grounded, and we'll have another soiree in October, the third Thursday of the month. But now I want to say, are you over there? You know, there's books for sale. There are books for sale, and we heard from those books, and I think we want to buy some. Yeah, because we had such a marvelous array, don't you think? We had that little mini tour of Mile End and the great humor there. And yes, it was Jack Locke, if people remember Jack Locke. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but Jack Locke sent me a copy of Minor Poetic Emergencies, and I loved it. And that's how I got introduced to Vincenzo. And it's many years now, close to 20. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your words. And thank you, Arsinoe, for sharing your photographs. I'm so glad you could be here with us. Matthew, you're back in your seat. Matthew, thank you for reminding us to be in touch with the land and for sharing some of your experience of walking upon this earth. And I'm very grateful to you for that too. And I can't wait to read your book. There's a few books out there I'd like to read of yours. I'm following this piece of paper to keep me straight because we saw how crooked I was before Shams. Thank you for your gift of song and your great heart, and thank you for encouraging us to sing along with you. It was very lovely to hear the sounds of many people singing together. So thank you. Okay, so I seem to have 2 pages that are exactly the same. Mark. I think so many people understand what it's like to have someone with Alzheimer's or some kind of dementia. And your story is very touching, and the juxtaposition, between the father being frightened by the driver and the child being frightened by the father is just quite powerful. So thank you. And where's my Ethel? Hello, Ethel. I know, the ladybug lady. Yeah, thank you for your words. You have a knack with those sounds and those words, and then you kind of give us a lesson. So thank you for that, and thank you a million times over for for the lemon loaf and the banana bread. You can tell it's a real hit. So thank you for that. She does this almost every meeting, brings us lemon loaf, and so now people are coming back, eh? Lemon loaf and banana bread, and she helps me too, so much. But thank you for your unique voice. And Carolyn, you managed to stay the whole time. Thank you for doing that. And you took us so many places with your gentle words. And you reminded us of the troubles, and you remind us that life is fragile and important. So now I would like to introduce the co-host here, who's a Montreal poet and songwriter. Brian Campbell has several critically acclaimed collections of poetry to his name, as well as 2 full-length albums and 2 EPs of original music. His latest EP, A Crystal Rim, features the translations of the Sufi poets Rumi and Hafiz, and they're put to music. And it's garnered glowing reviews in such music journals as Record World, International, and Canadian Beats. And much followed music blogger Daryl Sturden writes, A Crystal Rim encourages listeners to sit with the work, absorbing the richness of both the timeless words, the circular memories found in his spoke-based sound. So, thank you.
So this is my album. You could drink from it as well. You see, it's written as in crystal, actually. But, the album is out there. I don't seem to have copies right here, but anyway, I have a coffee cup, so any musician worth his salt has merch. Anyway, this sounds besmirched. Okay, so I decided to abandon all this. I'm just because there's kind of a reverb in this, and it feels simpler. And there's this, I mean, it's such a small room. I don't do this for the amplification, it's more for the effects, but naturally, of course, it amplifies the sound as well, so I decided just as well to do this. So this is a song, it's a poem by Rumi that was translated by Coleman Barks, and I put it to music, so this spans several centuries, naturally. We don't know really how much of it is Rumi in the end, you know, but there's lots of room for Rumi. Okay, so it's called Where Everything is Music. It's a vision of a world where everything is music. So. We've fallen into the place where everything is music. Strumming and flute notes fill the atmosphere. Even with the harp of the world should burn up, there'll still be a hidden instrument here. So the candle flickers and goes out. We still have this flint and a spark. The singing art is a sea wave grace, a pearl on the ocean floor. We've fallen into the place where everything is music. Poems sprout like spindrift from the sun, flowering from a root we can't see. The seashell I hold now in my hand. So the candle flickers and goes out. We still have this flint and a spark. The singing art is a sea wave grace, a pearl on the ocean floor.
fallen into the place where everything is music, where everything is music, where everything is music.
Okay, this one is the title song on that EP called A Crystal Rim, and it was by Hafiz and translated by Daniel Ladinsky, or it's a version by Daniel Ladinsky from other translation sources and so on. So it's gone through a lot of reincarnations, I imagine, in that process. But anyway, and I reduced it quite a lot to make this song, and it's called The Crystal Rim.
The earth lifts its glass to the sun, and light pours in. A bird comes and sits on the crystal rim, and from my forest cave I hear singing. An emerald bird rises from within me and sits on the crystal glass. I've left that dark cave forever. Now my body is blending with his. Now I lay up my wing as a bridge to you, so you may join us singing. The earth lifts its glass to the sun, and light pours in. The earth lifts its glass to the sun, and light pours in.
Okay, this is the final song I'll do. It's a new song, actually, and it's completely by me, not translation. And it kind of habits the same world in a way. And it'll be on an upcoming album or series of EPs that will make up an album called Let's Talk. Some of it will be satire, some of it will be about climate change and other dark realities. But this one is it's kind of a quiet night and quiet stars type of thing. Although I don't play bossa nova, it's bossa nova-ish. You know? So, and it's got this sort of cosmic quality that fits in with the other songs. So here we go.
watching the sun going down. Veils of nightfall coming on. Hand in hand, we talk now of our days, of all we'll ever see that's come and gone. This, the sunset of our lives. All things tend toward an end. We still haven't the slightest inkling why to foresee what's coming right around the bend. Come, my love, let's seize this moment, go beyond what we've allowed, lose ourselves in each other now. Blackness unfurls before our eyes. Galaxies blaze and spiral out. Could this be the last instant of our lives? Of that, my dear, there's surely not a shadow of a doubt. Come, my love, let's seize this moment, go beyond what we've allowed, lose ourselves in each other now. Come, my love, let's seize this moment, go beyond what we've allowed, find ourselves in each other now.
Another blow to the head. Maybe that one will make me right.
It's called a head start. Okay.
Okay. I had my fingers crossed. First of all, I almost always forget to thank my beloved. Thank you, Ted. I think of it, I don't always say it, but you know, thanks to you, we have an archive. We have video archive on the Lawn Chair Soirée. You can see yourself there. Two things. Thank you, Brian. I said thank you, Brian. There was something. Oh, yes. If I'm not downstairs to help you leave the building, there is a panic bar over there on the door. But downstairs, when you're facing those two doors, there's a green button. If you press that green button and push the left door, you can leave. Just in case you wanted to. If you want to have a sleepover, we'll have to negotiate that. Okay. Now, by a show of hands, lift your arm high. Did somebody want to read in the open mic? Open mic. Did you bring a poem? Did you bring a piece of prose? You would like to read in the open mic? You too? Okay, we have two people. Okay, so do you need to stand up for a minute and just shake yourself? And then we'll have two people who speak. Okay. So, yes. Okay, so we'll just take a moment to shake, rattle, and roll. Don't roll, don't roll. Just two poems, two poems. Okay, 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 okay. Here goes the audience. Up, 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 up. I think people are leaving. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we have just two poets who want to read for us. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Okay. I think you should just stand and read before everyone leaves. Oh, okay. Oh, dear. Yes, yes. I hope we haven't completely lost our audience.
There's an open mic, but no audience.
It's not like in the open space.
You should bring the mic out there. Well, I'm gonna get a copy. I think I might need another copy.
Oh, good, 'cause,
Can you sort of sit on that for? Oops. Sorry about that, everybody. My backside. It's like major equipment stuff.
I won't crash it. Oh, no. Sorry. Now, I came prepared,
Okay,
but I have 250 of these,
right,
so I'm putting it together.
right.
And I just said I'll take a few and see how it works.
Okay. Let's do two.
How long do I have? Two?
Not like 10 pages long.
Okay. They vary from about 30 seconds
Okay.
to as long as it takes to do this.
Oh, let's not do a long one.
They're back to back, so it's not as long.
Okay.
Okay. So how long do you want me to go?
Oh, I'd like two not too long poems, please.
Okay, so I'll do a couple of shorts.
That would be great.
So what if I do, actually, I don't know if I told you that I've give it up with my wife, or she would give it up on me and walk out. So I had to move, sell my house and everything. That's why I've been out of commission.
Oh, my goodness.
And one of these is that reaction to that incident.
Okay.
So that would be nice. And the other one is actually, can I do three? They're very short.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay. So I'll do one which is very dear to my heart. And another one dear to my heart is India. And then this one here, which is my trauma. I'll leave that till the end. How's that? Okay. You want me to start?
Please, you're on candid camera.
All right. So I have three of them. One is my children's memories. Is that recording? So I better watch what I say. The other one is Farewell, Dear India. I worked in India, in Trinidad, in Malaysia. I was in 17 different countries, and many of them I wrote poems, and they've been printed in the country, but I haven't bothered putting it together. The one with Dear India was the most overwhelming for me, to see the sadness in India and get away with it, basically, to live these people. And the other one is, with all this fuss about Father's Day and Mother's Day and everything, I chose one that says my children's memories, because they're the eye of my life, and so I made one for them instead. So what I'll do is I'll start with India. Why am I moving this? Oh, I shouldn't be moving. Okay. Okay. So farewell, dear India. Does this come across?
That's good.
Okay. I came to you, a cautious stranger. You greeted me just like a friend. I came to teach and show. You taught me a loving hand, a warm embrace, a reverent courtesy, how to stop and smile and listen. All of the words escaped me, captivated by rainbow saris that glisten, and smells and tastes of AP delicacy. Andhra Pradesh is one of the provinces. I lost myself in crowds of merriment, wedding throngs and pious marchers, gathering shy or curious stares wherever I went. The little guys made me. I came with apprehension from memories long ago on old Delhi, miseries tearing at my heart. Yet you showed me hope and strength is possible. No matter how long or low in life you start, I feared I would not survive, yet modeled your courage amidst the anguish and the pain. Your children's eyes and smiles still haunting me, as I dream of when we'll meet again. I long to learn the melody of your speech, to know each face by name, to fully integrate, yet lost myself to frenzied schedules, objectives, and reports. I was doing work with them. Knowing the time, the pain of opportunity lost can surely not abate. I came to you a stranger. I now have gained true friends. I learned much more than the little that I taught. The sweet and cherished memories of each day will fill my soul and empty coffers which I brought to you. The next one is for my children's memories. As I said, when all this fuss is made about the mother and the father and the gifts and everything, I think of the jewels in my life are my children. The emptiness in my soul, so vast, stretching overhead, endless and barren, weighs heavily upon me, like a leaden blanket, until a laughter, still remembered, a hug so warm, and voices reverberating with laughter, lift to I know not where, while tender whispers of Ti amo, which is I love you, my kids, float downwards engulfed and bathed me in utter joy, leaving gentle hands, once so tiny and frail, that throttled my yearning neck, to now replace the most precious specimen that this capital city of pearls can offer. This is in India again. Laughter, full-bodied and so genuine, beckons me from tree to tree, luring me to a grassy shore, where by a solitary canoe bobs almost imperceptibly upon a mirrored lake of blue. This is when I go camping with my kids from when they were born. A solitary canoe bobs almost imperceptibly among a mirrored lake of blue, while a vision, like angels blissfully sleeping, my treasured children each on my sides, snug within their sleeping bags, transports me into a world of full joy, alive with music, laughter, gaiety, and color abounding, where loneliness and empties no room can find, not as long as I have them with me. So, and finally is the other twist in my life, and it's called, no, I won't say that. I will instead So it's called Nostalgia. It's the last one I'll bother you with. Only yesterday, warm was the wind, scarcely whistling between us, so close our embrace. Yes, yesterday, our walk was so sprightly, scarcely touching the ground, bouncing and bumping, not caring where we were bound, what time, what day we'd arrive. A rush and a chase, or suddenly halting, another embrace, amidst with awe-stricken onlookers, soaring to miss us, cursing with envy, or softly excusing themselves. The two who weren't there, yes, only yesterday, just around noon, without even a breeze in the air, cold was the wind, icy and furious between us, my memories and I. Suddenly swerving, nearly colliding, I saw their hands clasped so warmly and envied them. So close their embrace was, and wondered if ever, whenever had I truly embraced. So if you have a few days, then I'll read the rest.
Next time
And
in October.
a friend of mine took a picture of me up on the mountain, so he's proposing to make the. I'll let you know. So, thanks. Yeah.
out there that we can learn from. So much. It's just continues. Is that problem? Especially these days, it's harder. Much more challenging. Mary, are you going to read? Honey, just go up there and read and I'll document you. Pretend there's many people there.
I'm sticking around. I just have to go downstairs to meet the bus when it comes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I can tell you right now, I don't get onto it, it's 9:21. What time is your bus coming? Oh, you better get down there. Okay.
What's your name?
My name's Gay.
Michael.
Michael, lovely to meet you, Michael. Yeah, yeah.
Hello. No, I guess this is.
I can take one of these documents, but I want to be reminded.
Oh, yeah, these are, I think these are just pictures, but I guess what I sent you, that's on the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yes, we will. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
You made my day.
Oh, good. Okay,
They are so.
I know I gave one to her. Matter of fact, guess what? She smelled it. She thought it was a real flower.
Well, they look real.
I know. So what a good idea, eh?
Totally.
I know. You can have it for however long you want to keep it. Are they doing the open mic still?
Yes, we still have the open mic. Yes, of course, my love. Yes.
Sorry if you open my ears, I'm not going to hear you.
I'll take care of it.
Michael read the read of us.
What is this all? Hello. Oh, it does. It does work. Yeah. Okay. Is this a? Oh, sorry. I shouldn't. Sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done anything. Is this good? But is this good like this? Is anybody else coming?
I think your voice will carry.
Okay. Hi, my name is Mary Frederica Curtin, and I have a poem to read to you called Into the Flow. This rock, this poem, this stone, this earth, beating in my heart, meeting in my heart, drum beats, night heat, beating in my heart, meeting in my heart, drum beats, high, low, earth, wind, I know, wild birds will flow, night sky will know the magic that's a part of everything we know. Whenever we flow, there's a mystery we know of which we are a part. It's written in our heart. So come here, join me, we can all be free when flowing is our art, and this knowing in our hearts that deep in the mystery we find our history, our sacred identity, our soul song where we belong. Sound the gong, ring the bell, raise your voice to the sound swell of this most sacred heart. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't pass the basket. Whoopsie daisies. Okay, I think that's it for tonight. So we're grateful to our open mic readers and everybody else. So go in peace and celebrate life. Thank you so much.
So